Good evening and welcome to the stream. Tonight, I have Macintosh content for everyone, as it looks like I have a good selection of viewers from Maciac. See, I waited for you. So, I'd like to say hi to Jeremy, Retrotech Chris, Alex, Thomas, Joe of Joe's Computer Museum, Eric, Steve at Mac84, Jay, John, and we have more Burrow Cakes, Chris Siebes, Daniel Hansen, David Starbuck, Jack68K, Vintage Hillbilly Shack. All right, welcome. So I have the Macintosh IIci logic board. I have extracted it from the case. And I see Sue Tech has just joined. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Yes, so this is the Macintosh IIci logic board. It has some lovely, wrong direction. Lovely capacitor electrolyte leakage. Even a nice, let's see, where's the chip that looks really crunchy? Nope. Maybe it's that one there. Yeah, it's that one right there. Luckily, the processor's fine. But yes, I'm going to push things off the bench if I go that direction. But yes, we also have some lovely capacitor leakage over here too. And there's even still some dead bug exoskeletons on the board. So I do know a recap is in order. Bruce was just warning that a power circuit repair may also be in order. I'm hoping not, but Bruce knows more than I do. So I have capacitors for the logic board, and that's what I'm going to focus on tonight. So, alright, Yes, so I'm going to recap the logic board tonight. I'm not going to get the power supply tonight, but I will try some apple cider vinegar, because there are a few rust spots around the ports. But not critical to fix that to test the board. However, I am going to have to recap the power supply, and I'm not ready to do that yet. The reefa caps are ready to go. So, the way I'm going to tackle this is I have my hot air gun. I am going to hot air the surface mount electrolytics off. And I will probably, for the axial caps, which I actually did order axial caps, even though I believe axial caps are actually more expensive than these tantalum caps on a per unit quantity. But I have them. Let's see here. I'm just double checking that I have all of the caps here. So I need, let's see, it's 16 volt, 47 microfarad, 16 volt, 10 microfarad. Those are tantalums. And then I have the 220 microfarad, 16 volt axial, and the 470 microfarad 16 volt axial. So I have all the caps. I also have these mystery 22 microfarad 35 volt caps, which I bet are actually for an LC. Yes, that is right. I think I did have the LC on order when I ordered those caps. It can take a week to do so. Well, I may actually try some rust reformer, because it will take less. I have a bottle of rust reformer, and it will take less time than a week. Now, the one thing I would like to do before I reflow this board is I would like to get these sims out of their sockets. And unfortunately, they are fairly stuck. So I am going to take some deoxit and see if I can't deoxit them out of their sockets. Because these are those evil plastic clips. And there's also really not a good angle for me to try to do this. So, oh, wait a minute. I'll just use the camera view to see what I'm doing. Alright, so let's see if that actually maybe loosened them. Enough to get out, because they're kind of... They felt like they were oxidized in when I tried to remove them last time. So with these 30-pin sim sockets that have the plastic clips, gentle, gentle, gentle is the name of the game. I would rather waste a can of deoxit than break a clip. All right. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 3. Nope, they're all non-parity. They're just two different manufacturers of memory modules. So these are marked like that. And I have no idea what size that is. But there's the Oki chips. I suspect this is 1 megabyte. So if anyone were wanting to figure out what size those are, I suspect they're just 1 megabyte sims. Although, maybe I could be surprised and maybe they're 4 megabyte sims. I just kind of wanted to remove them out of the socket before I started reworking. Now, at one point, I was going to populate this board with 128 megs of RAM, but I've decided, after reading how the IIci does its memory, that until I get a video card for it, yeah, I think they are probably 1 megabyte. I've actually ordered some 256K sims for Bank A. And I'm only going to put the 16 megabytes in Bank B. Because of the way the video circuit works. That way in System 7 I can set a disk cache to use the memory in that first megabyte that the video doesn't use, and things will be much faster. Because actually I don't know that I need 120 megabytes. Unless I find a new bus video card I like. And by find a new bus video card I like, I'd really like to find a quick draw accelerated new bus video card. But I may relent and just buy one. I just want something maybe a little different than the original new bus video card that came with the Mac 2. Because this is a CI. But I do have a couple I'm watching on eBay. So, yeah, I'm going to guess it has 5 or 8 megabytes as well. So that was Bank A. And Joe seemed to think those were 1 megabyte sims, so I'm wondering if this has 8. And yeah, you've got to be really gentle with these. Okay, so these other 4 sims are also a matched set. And they have Samsung memory. And given the part, it's a 1000. I believe this is a 1 megabyte sim. These are legend memory modules. Yeah, that's about the case. Yep, but this 2CI, some 2CIs have a parity chip, and they require parity RAM. And I didn't know that when I bought this 2CI, but well, probably by the fact that it has non-parity RAM, you could probably already tell that it doesn't have the parity chip, but I'll show you what you look for. So if you're looking at 2CIs on eBay, so find the memory, the sims, then look over to where the programmer and reset switch are, to this socket. If this is populated, that's the ECC chip, and you'll have to have parity RAM, which hopefully the system has parity RAM in it. If this chip is depopulated, then you can, well, I guess you could use parity RAM, it just won't make advantage of it, but you can use non-parity RAM because there's no parity chip. And I believe that is as far as I know, that is the thing you look for, is whether that is populated or not. So now that I got the memory out, I think it is time to get some capacitors off the board. Oh, but first, as I always do, I am going to double check that this board matches the recapping guide. And I am using Bruce's recapping guide. But I always like to just double check to make sure I don't have some revision that is not on the recapping guide. So, let's see, that is 47. That is a 10. 47, 10, 47. All right. And that, let's see here. Of course, they had to insert these where the value is not on the top. I'll check those when I pull them out. And then over here, there are, let's see, 47, 47, 47, 47. And then, of course, that is not... Oh, and then there's one down here, down below, new bus slot C. And it's a 47. All right, so this matches. Oh, awesome. RetroTech Chris found a eBay auction for 30-pin sim sockets. So, yes, that's good to know. If I did break clips. All right. And I have no idea why I do not know why the new bus cards start at slot C and not slot A. I presume that has something to do with the fact that I don't know. They removed some slots from the Mac 2 form factor and made this a 2CI. Or maybe in C for cool. Yes, that is the cool slot, the delightful slot, and the excellent slot. And then, of course, the cache... Oh! I know what those other caps are for. Actually, I don't think they're for the LC, or they might be. Actually, I just remembered after forgetting. So, I have a cache card. Yes, okay, these are the caps for the cache card. That's why I bought this cache card off eBay on a separate auction. It has a... It had a known problem. The one cap fell off. As you can probably see, the pad is a little bit crusty. I'm hoping the pad is actually there. But, yeah, it needs recapped. And given the fact there's only 2 electrolytic capacitors on this board, it actually looks crunchier than one might expect. But I've read that the IIci really shines when you have a cache card. So this will be nice. Yeah, that is kind of really odd. Although it goes in this way. Maybe this was in a IIci that had the battery go off, maybe? Ah, yes, the continuity check. That would be a good way to see if that pad is still there. That, of course, assumes that I remember what I did with my multimeter after last night's stream, which I found it. Alright, let's see here. And what did I do with... There's the leads. I could also put this under the microscope. I could apply 120 volts and see what pops. That would require me to go find the power supply. I'm not sure what I did with the power supply. I moved it off the workbench somewhere. Alright. So, the cache card has... Let's see how bad a shape this is in, because this might determine what I work on first. Alright, so the cache card... Let's see here. So, alright, so that's a negative pad. And theoretically, oh, the other cap just fell off the board. So these two should both be ground. And they are connected. No, John. Bruce has not managed to convince me to switch to a IIci multimeter. Not that I didn't look at their website, but because of something I want to do that the IIci multimeters cannot do. And that is, I want to be able to, on screen, show the multimeter reading when I'm actually using the multimeter. So I actually, yesterday, broke down and bought a Fluke multimeter off eBay. A Fluke 45, which has a serial port on it. And unlike the multimeter I had down here that had a serial port, that beats me what protocol it spoke, because I actually pulled out my serial protocol analyzer in an attempt to see if I could see any serial traffic, and all I ever saw was me trying to send commands But yeah, so I broke down and it's used. I bought one at a really good price. So, and the pad is there. So it looks like, well, actually, quite honestly, considering that both caps just fell off the board, I think I'm going to start with the cash card because it has basically done half the work for me. It'll also be a good chance to warm up. So, anyways, I have a Fluke 45 meter. It is probably way overkill for what I do, but the price was right. It has serial, and not only that, but it has a mode where you can set it to output the values, and it'll just output the values to the serial port at a rate you specify. So I don't have to write a program that would be able to tell the multimeter what to do and then it send values back. Yes, if I only had an ultrasonic cleaner. Yeah, it's under the stairs. It is under the stairs. And I'm working on a way to be able to run it while I live stream and have the audio levels not as badly affected. But yes, I debated on whether to send these to the ultrasonic cleaner first, but I decided that I would follow Bruce and Steve's examples of they'll usually rework boards and then clean them, unless it's like totally... I may need to add... Oh. I bet I want to add flux to that. Oh, it would also help if I turn on the fan that makes some noise. Alright, so I'm going to try to clean these pads off and hopefully might be able to get them back to something closer to a eutectic solder mix. Oh, now I think I know how I'm slinging solder everywhere. Hey, Dave. If I could keep it 20 to 30 feet from the camera, I would, but I don't have an outlet you can use that far away from the camera. Because the outlet that's 20 feet away from the camera is on the same circuit as the camera. And I don't think I have enough power on the outlet to run everything I need to stream and the ultrasonic cleaner. The only other outlet I have in the basement is the one under the stairs, which I usurped for ultrasonic cleaning. Well, yeah, Yeah, these pads are in really bad shape. These pads are so rusty. Okay, these ones aren't as bad. I might actually get the solder to stick to them. Well, I don't know. So, I could use some advice from the chat. How to get these pads until they look better. Oh, well that one actually kind of looks better already. Maybe. Strip the solder away, clean with IPA, then retry. Alright. Let me see. Yep, the problem is the solder is now kind of more of a lead salt than a lead solder. That might actually be an idea. Although, let me see what I've got, how I've got this pad looking now. Oh. That first pad looks better. All right, let's take a look under the microscope. Oh, if I can get the microscope out. Okay, I'm working on a plan to rearrange my desk so that reflow it. No, the plus one's not shiny. That I can. Let's take a closer look at these pads. And let's see if I can manage to use this without the camera falling off. Alright. Oh, that... Well, that's hard to see anything. Alright, I just pulled the, lid off that. That's a recipe for disaster on my desk. Alright. I was trying to get more of the solder flux off so I could actually see things. I know that's not the greatest, but it gives me what I need to see. Alright, so here's the pads. And both these pads go to a via. Yeah, don't break. Thanks, sodium. Yes, don't break it. And yes, I see copper too. There is hope. Yay for vias. Yeah. I don't know if I've got the skills to solder the surface mount cap onto the via, because that's a very small target. A very small target, and I think I bought tantalum caps that are wow. Okay. Okay. Actually, the effect of using the cash card with dying caps would probably be about the same as using the Mac with dying caps. It'd probably be unreliable. However, the problem is the caps fell off the board. Yeah, that's what I'm probably going to have to do. Is probably use the via to my advantage. I think I do see where it comes through the board. Alright, so it is, so there's the one via and the other via. Clipping a small nickel strip and using that to make the connection over to the via. Is this really a 5-volt plane here? I mean, I could try the cash card without the caps, but the caps fell off. So, it's kind of one of those. This board didn't have bad caps to try to use it with. This board had no caps to try to use it with. So it looks like, yeah, I'm going to probably need to yeah, I can fix it, but I don't think I've got what I need to fix this tonight, because it looks like I'm going to probably need some wires. Because it looks like I'm going to have to probably do some pad repairs. Okay. At least in this case, this one I might actually be able to mount it off center. Because there's at least enough here that maybe I could scrape it away there and solder to there. And, well, at least I could also scrape that away and add a wire to reinforce that. Because this pad here kind of looks, I think that's rust on it. But I'm not sure. Let me... Yeah, it looks like I started to kind of get that one shiny, but this one's... This is the pad where the cap fell off, where the cap fell off before the seller listed it. This one other one down here fell off when I pulled it out of the bag. Wicking, retinning, more wicking, and a bit of scrapey scrape. Yeah. Well, I guess I can... I guess I can give it a little more of a try. I did break down and buy a knife, so I do have the ability to scrape. I opted not to... Oh. Well, I'm going to pull the knife out just in case I need it. But I did buy I bought a hobby knife, which should have pretty sharp blades. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, well, let's see if I can't maybe give it a little more of a try. I'm going to reject the blade that came with the hobby knife and substitute one of the ones that I bought to go along with it. Alright. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, I am trying to rearrange my desk so that I'll be able to use my big microscope. But because the microscope views help you see what I'm doing, and in this case kind of help me see what I'm doing, I will demonstrate that you don't necessarily have to have a big expensive microscope to do this. Because when I set my big microscope up, I made one slight mistake that I should have realized was a mistake. And that was the microscope, I needed to put it on my left side so that I could put all the tools on my right side because I'm right-handed. So at the moment where I've got my big microscope, it's actually being blocked by my heat gun because because I needed my heat gun where it is. Oh. Oh, that's why I'm smelling burning plastic. I melted the plastic on the solder wick. Yeah, that does look a lot better. That pad actually looks like it might be close to... Well, what I'm using now, if anyone's wondering, it's a pluggable brand. It's one of those USB microscopes. All right. Yeah, this one side just needs a touch more cleaning. That one side looks like it might be clean enough to take a cap now. Yeah, that one there looks pretty good. I mean, the end of it's pretty crusty, but... Yep, that's, yeah, you don't get the stereo view, but you get magnification. And at the moment, this is a good time for magnification. Oh, yeah. That's... Oh, yeah, I'm starting to see the pad there, too. Is that too much flux, Zonium? Okay, let me do myself a favor here. Let me move my smoke absorber a little closer to where I'm creating smoke. Hey, look at that. Well, that pad there looks pretty good. Let me see if it'll take some solder now. Yeah, look at that. It's shiny. All right. I think those are two pads that'll take a cap. Well, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let me... I need to get some foam swabs. I'll see if I can't take a moment and bring up the Amazon link for that scope and put it in the chat. Unless one of my mods wants to do a quick Amazon search and search for pluggable USB microscope. Alright, that looks really good. One down, one to go. Oh, there we go. And it is... Alright, so that is the scope. And it's currently $39.95. So if you want something to start with, I would definitely recommend it. And actually, if you like the used route, if you look on Amazon, actually, the scope I bought, I actually bought it from, I think it was used from Pluggable Technologies. But it really looked like it probably was opened and then promptly returned. Well, it took 2 tries, though, to buy one that was used from them, but... But anyways, yeah, $40 for a new one. I can recommend it. It's a good starting point. It's got a decent image. And since I've kind of blocked in my other microscope, and because I haven't had a chance to rearrange my desk yet, I need to buy some C-stands. Because I've got a new camera rig, but I need C-stands to put it on. But instead of a camera rig, or instead of C-stands, I bought a better vacuum desoldering pump. Oh. Yes. I know what you're saying, Zodium. And next Wednesday, as much as I really do not want to go to a county board of supervisors meeting, I'm going to go to a county board of supervisors meeting because I got a wonderful, lovely letter in the mail yesterday that apparently the county voted to instruct the water authority to add a $30 fee for each, they call it an EDU, and I don't know what that stands for, but it has to do with the water and sewer. So for every EDU, you get a $30 fee on your bill. Well, I know I've got one EDU because I'm a water-only customer. Oh, yeah, sewer-only customers, it's a $10 a month fee. For everyone else, it's a $30 a month fee per EDU, including if your property has an EDU that's not hooked up yet. Well, I use equivalent dwelling unit. Thank you, Joe. I was figuring you would be one of the people in the chat that might remember what it meant more quickly than I could. So yes, I believe I have one EDU because I am an equivalent dwelling unit. But yes, I use $15 a month in water. I'm not the only one in my subdivision whose water bill runs $15. So our water bills are about to triple just because of the county adding a fee. Well, they claim it's to pay off debt and to build a new water treatment facility, but I'm like, it's kind of like they're charging everyone the same fee, but yeah, oh yeah. I know there's a lot of places where the water is way more expensive than it is here, but the thing is, they're just tripling it for a fee. That's not, I think we're all expecting that the water rate's going to go up because of inflation, too. And I guess if they do actually build their facility, then they'll probably find a way to increase the fee more, too. But, yeah. So, I'm going to go to the Board of Supervisors meeting next week to politely let them know that I think the way they're charging the fee for is not fair to small water users. Of course, I'd have to look up how many EDUs a business has, but yeah, it's the I mean, yeah. Yeah, David Starbuck, you're right on the money. They never pay off the debt. Even though they claim that fees for debt service. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. Yeah, my water bill's currently $15 a month. I don't have a sewer bill because I'm on septic. And my trash is $26 a month. But yeah, my water bill's... and I suspect probably will give my 2-minute speech during my allotted speech time. And will probably not sway their decision one bit. But at least I'm going to go... I'm going to do my research. Try to figure out if I can find some data and give the best 2-minute speech I can to try to persuade them that $30 a month per EDU is not fair because... yeah, if my water bill triples, okay, I'll bite the bullet and eat it. But there's a lot of people in this county that tripling their water bill is going to put them in a hard spot. And so that's really what I got to go. Just tell the county that the way you're doing this isn't fair. Oh. Oh, let's not go into my power bill. Good news is my power bill the last power bill I got is back to normal. Greed. I think I can say whatever I want during my 2 minutes. So, if I can tie the word greed into it, I will. Worst they can do is cut my mic off and send me away. Well, I mean, I know who the sheriff is in the county. I think... But, yeah, if they don't like what I say and want to send me away, I'll go. I'm gonna be polite. But I gotta say it. Yeah, but anyway, at least my power bill this month, the power bill I got the other day for the past month was normal. Because, yeah, I'm going to go for the people who can't be there, because I can go, but I may not know them, but I know there's people in the county that they will be hurt by this change, and they will probably be at work when the meeting happens. So I during my 2 minutes, my other goal is I want to be big picture, not just the, I don't want my bill to triple, because I don't, but it's the, there are other people in this county that are even less able to have a bill tripled than I am. So, yes, I am going to go stand up. Yeah, my power bill, well, my power bill fluctuates. So in the summer, it runs about $200. In the winter, it was running about $250. Yeah, no. Oh. But my bill from like January 14th to February 14th, it was $450. Because it was that cold in Virginia. Oh, I don't turn my thermostat down as low as I could in the summer, because my bill would probably be $400 in the summer if I had the thermostat at 72. Since it's, of course, I don't keep it as warm in the winter either, but it was that cold for that month, which is why I wasn't streaming down here in the basement. That probably tells you my electric bill was $200 more than it normally is. No, it was $415, not $450. I mean, but it was still like almost $200. It was almost $200 more than it was the year before. It was that cold in my basement. There was just no way I was going to be able to stream. Jeremy, there's also no way I'm going to be going to Phoenix in the summer, because I can't do 120. All right. Oh. And yes. I better put that on right as a fitment test, because that's just asking for me to put the tantalum on backwards. Yes, that is the one thing I miss about my previous house. I actually had natural gas at my previous house. And say what you will about it, but it's really efficient. It is a 22. It's a 22 microfarad. So I believe it was Eric that gave me this part number, because it's what he had used to fix his cash card, or at least he provided the value of 22. Yeah, it was 22 microfarads, and I think he'd used some 35-volt ones, because he couldn't get the original cap was, I think, a 25-volt. Yeah. So this is the original cap. But so I could order the caps before I got the cash card, I'd actually posted on Joe's Discord of, hey, I've got a cash card. I can't read the value in the eBay picture. Can someone let me know what's on it? Because I just want to go ahead and order caps. Not that I got to it any sooner, but And Eric replied back that he had used the 35 volt 22 microfarad. So, yeah, I don't know what the temperature is going to be tomorrow. This time of year, I'm usually more concerned with the weather forecast for the lab I work in. And you might think that's a funny statement, but the lab I work in shares its air conditioning with part of the computer room and one of the other labs that has like a whole bunch of equipment in it. And the lab I'm in has very little amounts of equipment in it. So I am usually wearing a hoodie even in the summer if I'm down in the lab I work in. Just because of the air conditioning needed to keep the other two rooms that it services at their set temperatures. So, well, so and yeah, I think the weather forecast for the lab I work in tomorrow is going to be chilly. Probably will be about I don't know. Yeah, it was rather cool in the lab. It was probably 65 in the lab I was working in today. Whatever. I've just learned to take a hoodie to work with me. Yeah, I know. I just don't even try. But there we go. There's one cap on the cash card. Yeah, I actually still have to wear a hoodie in my house in the summer too, because sometimes even though I usually keep my thermostat at 78, and I even did in my old house, I kept it at 78. Sometimes I just think that's even a little on the cool side. So, all right. However, when my no, I haven't done the logic board yet. Because the two caps had fallen off the cash card, I decided I would warm up on the cash card, and then I'll start with the logic board. So this is probably going to be a two-part because I'm going to try not to fall for the same tricks I fell for earlier in the week. That's there we go. That's a little. Oh, I think I need to move this a little more. So I think I've got it too far this one direction. The logic board is pretty dirty. It almost is bad enough that I thought it might need pre-cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner. But I thought I would at least try to give it a try first. Oh. Okay. A little more cattywampus. But it'll work. Alright. Well, I didn't get that one on quite as straight as the first one, but it does look decent. Yes, I am a little bothered about the some of the black on that board. Oh. Actually, it looks like it's coming off with IPA, so might have just been flux splatter. Alright. So, I've got the cash card repaired. Just kind of clean that up. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So, anyways, so now I've got one cash card with 2 new caps on it. So, cool. I'll have to put that through the ultrasonic cleaner. Are you, All Things DG, are you asking me if I'm close to DC? Because I'm actually far enough away that I'm totally happy that I'm the distance I am. I mean, I did go to Fairfax last month. And that drive took longer than I was expecting. Because one of my coworkers said, hey, you know, you could take Route 29 all the way up to Fairfax. I should have got on the interstate when I had the chance. Alright. Hi, Bruce. You just missed me warming up on the cash card. I think I got the capacitors. Yes, I am close enough we can get together at some point, but far enough away that I don't make a regular habit of going there. Yes, the reason I went to Fairfax was to go to Micro Center. Yes. And I think I will go back at some point to Micro Center. Although maybe next time I'm there, they'll actually have Raspberry Pis. But, well, chip shortages. What can you do? That is where I got my deoxit, though, Chris. I'm glad even though it took me like 2.5 hours to get there, might have been closer to 3. At least I did spend enough time in the store to realize that they were a deoxit distributor. because I needed some, and I didn't want to order it. So, that Micro Center, though, is, from what I can tell in the interior, that must be one of the older Micro Centers, because its interior is a bit dated. But hey, they were there. They had stuff. They didn't have Raspberry Pis, but I think they did have some graphics cards in stock, because I think that's one of Micro Center's claims to fame. But I gotta. I have an Ender 3 Pro that I bought there. I haven't put it together yet. I'm waiting on some upgrade parts. So, one of my coworkers recommended some upgrades that were relatively reasonably priced, but they make a ton of difference. So, I have most of them, but the one thing I haven't done yet is he's going to give me a bolt that I need for one of the upgrades, and he hasn't been in the office yet, so hopefully he'll have a day where he's in the office soon. He'll get me the parts, that bolt, and I may do a 3D printer assembly live stream at some point. So, but I got to take advantage of the new customer discount because I had never ever bought anything at Micro Center, so it is the, let me see it. So he had me order a. It was a all metal extruder, the self-leveling touch probe, and another stepper motor, because the all metal extruder that he told me to get would not mount on the stepper motor that came with the Ender 3 Pro. So he found a different one. Unfortunately, it'll require changing the number of steps, but that's fine. And he actually had to compile firmware so he could actually use the self-bed leveling probe. Which it's cool because he's already done the firmware build and tested. I think he's tested that it works even. So all I'll have to do is just wait for that firmware from him, and I can just load it. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. All in it. So the Ender 3 Pro was on sale, and with the first time customer discount, I paid $99 for it, because it was an extra $100 off. Yeah, I'll make sure to do that. And then the all metal extruder kit and the self-leveling kit, I want to say that was like about $50, maybe a little less. I don't remember exactly what I paid Amazon, because I ordered a couple other things on the same order. Or maybe it was $60. Yeah, yeah, it was a really good deal. And then, oh yeah, because they had it on sale, the Ender 3 Pro on sale for $199, but new customers. And the thing is with Micro Center, yeah, you get a new customer deal for once, and they make you give them your address and phone number to get that discount. But it was an extra $100 off. So yeah, I paid. So for the deoxit and the 3D printer, I think I walked out of Micro Center after paying $130. and then took me 2.5 hours to drive home with the sun blaring in my eyes the whole way back. Next time I drive to Fairfax, I am going to be a little more cautious as to what time I am driving back south, because that was quite uncomfortable with the sun beaming directly in my eyes nearly the whole way back. I think the only relief I got was where going around Culpeper, because 29 goes around Culpeper, and that was about the only place where my car wasn't pointed at the sun setting. I think this deoxit was... Yes, I will definitely let you know, Chris. This was, when I went last time, this was a kind of last minute. I was not told about the sale until the last minute, so I pretty much had to just go. And by the time I actually got out of here, yeah, I pretty much had to just shop and leave Fairfax, because I realized by the time I got there, I'm getting on Interstate 66 next time I go to Fairfax, because, 29. Yeah. 29's not bad until you get to, where is... I don't remember what point, but at some point 29 just gets to be a madhouse. And there's so many stoplights. I should have just taken the interstate. But what do you know? You live, you learn. Alright, so I think I put the Kapton tape on the board so that I do not melt the plastic. Yeah, actually I got another funny story, Chris. You probably would relate, but... So, when I moved up to this part of the state, probably after working where I do for about a year, I decided it was time to buy a new car, and I found the car I wanted in Fairfax. And the day I told the car dealership that I was going to pick up the car was the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. Luckily, I had a coworker who was going home that weekend, and he told me that it's a little longer to get where I'm going, but I can take the route to go through Fairfax, no problem, because he was going up to Pennsylvania. Getting there, it wasn't too bad. However, in the hour or so it took to sign all the paperwork, it ticked around to where obviously all the federal employees, or everyone was leaving work to start Memorial Day weekend. Because it took me... I think it took me an hour and a half or more, because I was more focused on not getting hit in my brand new car, or well, it was a demo, so it was a demo car, but it was new to me. It was at least an hour and a half to drive like the 5 miles it took to get to the battlefield, where by about that point most of the traffic had actually probably entered the interstate. That was the most nerve-wracking, probably 2 hours, because I was just trying not to get hit in my new car, because it was like the floodgates opened of everyone leaving work to start Memorial Day weekend, and it did not dawn on me how bad traffic would be in Northern Virginia. So anyways, I've got my hot air gun out. Oh, and I'm going to have to turn the temperature up. Alright. I did make it back home without any incidences, other than there were like a bunch of cicadas stuck in my new car, which was gross, because it also was the I forget which brood it was, but it was also like one of the weekends where that brood had just come. That was gross. Ugh. All right, so I've got my hot air. I've got it set to 350 degrees C. I've got Kapton tape to protect the plastic. And it's time for... well, Steve, you missed me fixing the cache card. Yes, it's now time for Justin's Fish Market. Come on, capacitor. I know you want to just leave that board. Oh, yeah. There we go. There's that fish smell. I think today's fish of the day is 3-day-old tuna. Warm up the CRT. It's more like warm up the caps. It's time for Justin's Fish Market. Actually, you know, I could warm up a CRT. Oh, no. There we go. Whoa! Oh, man. That one popped nicely off camera. Oh, wait a minute. You might have just saw it on the corner. It, like... It vented. And the famous words of a particular movie, it turned inside out. And then it exploded. Alright, bonus points to whoever can guess which movie that is first. I might have made that one too easy. Yeah, no. Hey, this is a no-smoking basement. Probably not, but, well, with this fishy smell here, woo! We've got ourselves another smoker! Wow, that one, okay, at least that one was still on camera. Well, that one's just the... Yeah, I think these 47 microfarad ones are poppers. Yeah, I kind of get the impression this one's going to... vent. Oh, the HC132s. I'm wondering if... I don't remember... I ordered some parts proactively because I thought they looked bad on this board. I don't know if the HC132s were one of them or not. And I don't like these 47 microfarad caps, because I think just about every one of them is popped. And I think this one's going to do it too. Get off my circuit board! I don't do a very good impression of Harrison Ford. Also, he doesn't say get off my circuit board in the movie, but we'll see if we have any movie buffs that might realize which movie I was actually referencing. Oh, that was my reference of Air Force One. Get off of my plane. I keep the stream PG, so I don't think I can... I can't do the Samuel Jackson quote you're probably referring to. Ah, okay, get off my lawn. Yeah, that works too. As you know, the circuit board is green, so it's kind of like a lawn. Also, Steve, I am kind of glad that green is at the top on your shirt, because it is St. Patty's Day. So people don't have to read very far down the shirt to see that I'm wearing green. Of course, I guess that's because the leaf on the apple's green, but... Because it would be a little more if people had to actually read down the shirt, because there's some people that don't get computer shirts that just stop reading and then pinch you because they stopped reading and didn't see you were reading green. So it's good that the green's on the top, because they'll start reading your shirt, realize it's a computer shirt, and walk away if they're not into those. All right, so I've got the surface mount caps off. And it's probably time to get the axial caps off. And for that, I was kind of wondering if maybe my new... I've got a new machine. So, let's see here. Actually, I think that looks like a good setting. Alright. Now, I do believe that I do have to, because this is the first time I've used this. So I gotta clean the solder out of the board. Unfortunately, let's see if I can bend this lead up, because that's gonna... There we go. Now I should probably be able to desolder that now. Alright. Oh, there we go. I was looking for an indication that I had actually turned it on. Well, I had one of those NSD stations. Because you might have seen it in a video I did. But something was wrong with it, and I returned it, and I kept debating on whether I wanted to reorder it, or I just wanted to go with the Hacko. And I ultimately decided to go with the Hacko because Hacko actually seems to do a good job of keeping spare parts in stock should I need them. Whereas Marlin P. Jones is where I think they try to carry the parts for the NSD and the like stations, and I could tell they were having trouble keeping some of those parts in stock. So I just decided to get the Hacko, so if I need parts, I can get them. Although, yeah, it is a bit top-heavy, but oh, there's the other lead. Yeah, that was the NSD was one of those ZD 915s. Well, alright, I got one of the leads out. Ah, of course, this is the ground one. I may have to turn the heat up for this one. I may also have to go upstairs and get my desoldering needles. Or this might actually be a case, wait a minute. I may be a bit premature, as much as I would like to give him a try. Although as much as I can't really read the directions of the soldering needles. I do remember the Hacko directions say that if you have trouble desoldering, add solder. So, well, the other reason why I kind of like this Hacko, or at least the concept of it, is I've already have enough on my workbench because I have a Hacko soldering station, or a little FX888D. I'm going to add just a little bit of solder first. And then, yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Oh, I almost got it. There we go. Got it. Ah, and the vias are clear. All right. So 1 down, 3 more to go. And the other 3 are going to be by the power connector. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I think it's that one right there. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, I see where they are. All right. Oh wow, there's not enough lead there to use that. Yeah, I think I may have to... Yeah, this one cap, there's not enough lead to really... Right, let's see if I can't... Whoop, I think I'm going to need to add solder to these. The solder's kind of crusty. Alright. My soldering iron looks awful too. One, 2, 3. And then should be 1. Yeah, I don't like it when power supplies make funny noises like that. Equally concerning are when big transformers make funny noises. Alright. Ah! Oh. That's actually a good question there, Vintage Hillbilly Shack. And yeah, I've heard those power supplies in the Apple IIs can be problematic after 30 years. So yeah, I would at least recap it. Although I would be tempted to try one of the reactive micro replacement power supplies. Although I don't have an Apple IIgs to put it in. But I do have another computer that needs a replacement power supply. And it uses most of the same voltage rails as the Apple II Plus and Apple IIe and Apple IIgs, so I may actually use one of those reactive micro power supplies to fix it. And actually, I have two computers. One that the second one actually I think is quite possibly a cloned Apple II Plus power supply. Oh, I'm not ready to reveal that just yet. Oh, the power supply one. Oh, that. I thought you were trying to get me to reveal what computer I had that uses power supplies like that. I'll have to find the link. Oh, that's probably why I'm having trouble desoldering these. These are... That doesn't appear to be solder in those vias anymore. That appears to be lead salt. Let me pull up their website real quick. After I get the soldering iron out of my hands. Okay, these... Alright, these capacitors are going to take a little more work. Basically, I got the little one out, and the two big ones... I think I'm having trouble on the two that are on the... Yep, that are on the ground plane. I should have known. Let's see here. So I think the power supply I am thinking of is... Here we go. So there's the reactive micro power supply I'm thinking of. So basically, you get a kit, and you replace the innards of your Apple II power supply with the boards that come in the kit. They also sell an optional power harness if you'd rather use a pre-wired harness than try to use the one that's in your power supply. But I think the one nice thing about their design is it's a modern power supply design. Because I think somewhere on their website they claim you'll run cooler. So, all right. Oh, it doesn't? Okay, it doesn't run cooler. I sit corrected. Alright, these two caps are... Ah, okay. I knew there was some benefit to it. I've got one computer I'm going to confirm that it looks like it is a Apple II Plus power supply clone in it. And if it is, I'm probably going to order one of those to replace its power supply just because of how old it is. And then I've got another computer that I'm going to order just the power supply itself and not the board it mounts on, because I got to build an external power supply for that computer, and it uses like 3 of the 4 rails that that power supply has. So that's the easiest way to get power for that computer. So yeah, I think those 2 computers I'll probably get to in May. All right, good night, Joe. Thanks for joining. And remember, 8 bits is all you need, unless you have a really cool 32-bit Mac. All right, 1, 2... Ah, I got the caps out. And one of the holes is just a little bit dirty still. So anyways, I guess the short version of the story about this Mac is... this isn't the same Mac, but I registered my jdmcs.com domain name on a Mac like this one, so... That's the... why I played my fancy domain anniversary animation at the beginning of the stream, because this is kind of my... It's a twofer. I'm doing this for Macintosh, but I'm also doing this because this is the 23rd anniversary year of my domain registration, first domain registration, and you're probably thinking, 23? Justin, you're crazy. Well, yeah, I probably am. I'm a test engineer. I probably am crazy. But 23 is a prime number, and I'm a geek, so therefore, I'm celebrating the prime number anniversary. So, that's why I decided to get a 2CI to work on for Macintosh this year, is because I thought it would be a... Well, I've kind of always wanted to have a 2CI, face it. So, good night, Eric. Thanks for joining. Yeah, let's see here. Actually, let me do this. So, that's kind of really the backstory of this computer. This computer I got off eBay, it definitely is not the one I registered the domain on. Because this computer at one point was owned by the federal government, doing who knows what. Yeah, one of these vias is a bit clogged. I think there's a label on this computer that says something that was on the non-secure network. So whatever this computer was doing was probably boring administrative stuff. Or at least not non-classified work. But the hard drives were still removed. I don't know. Might have been used at a research lab. I don't know. For all I know, it was used to create HyperCard slide decks for employee or federal government employee training. Yeah, I think I've got the... Yeah, I brought the IIci case down here. If you look at my thumbnail photo for this video, you'll see that I actually purposely used an angle where you could see there's labels all over it, but anyways, there's a... Where was it? I thought this one had a label on it that said it, or maybe it was the other Mac I was looking at the time I had it, but it was the other Mac. It had a label on it that said like non-secure network, blah 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 blah. But yeah, this was owned by the government, because there's the inventory identification tag. So, have no idea what it was used for, but apparently on the 12th of January 1995 it got an ADPE identification on it, so maybe that's when they retired it. Looks like they bought it January of 92, because there's a tag on it for warranty information. But yep. Don't know what the government used it for, but it was owned by the government. Whereas the computer I registered my domain name on was owned by the school system. So, who knows? It might actually be in a closet somewhere. So who knows? Maybe if someone at the governor's school would happen upon a closet full of Macintosh IIci's and like to reunite me with one of them. Although, actually, I think the governor's school was renovated after I went there, so it's probably actually in a closet, central office, if it's still somewhere in the school system, but still. Alright, so one of these vias still has crud in it. I can't get it out. I think I'm going to have to probably use the capacitor lead as a probing tool. But I'm also kind of looking at the time. And now that I have pulled the capacitors off the board, It's almost seems to me to be a good stopping point. Because the last two streams I did on the Picade, I was, well, one of the streams I went way later than I wanted to, and the other, the one last night I still went pretty late. So I'd kind of like to actually maybe go to bed a little more normally. Plus, I'm just kind of looking at this board. So I've got the capacitors off. I gotta clean the pads, so I really would like to get that via cleared. Maybe that might be a job for one of those soldering needles. So actually, I think the stopping point I would like to get to is to have the vias cleared. So I'm going to... I'll be right back. I'm going to go run upstairs and grab the soldering needles, and so I can give them a try to see if I can clear these vias. All right. Oh, you missed me. I got the cache card fixed, and then I've got the surface mount caps off. I've got the through-hole caps off. And I was just wanting to try to get these vias cleared. So I thought I would see if the soldering needles would help me get this one cleared that is just... because I need something to kind of poke through it. Yeah, I'll look at those three chips. Let's see. UB13, UD13, and UE. Oh, yeah, these, those three chips, Yeah, they look a little crunchy. And I think there's I think there's some solder balls here. Yeah, they look like they're full of crud, but I wasn't so worried about those chips. Although I may have ordered spares for those. I'll have to look at my stash. So I was going to see if I could get the... Well, yeah, that Via's... Maybe I need to try it from the other side. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Hold on, I'm trying to clear a via. Alright, I'm probably going to add solder to it to clear the solder. It's one of the 3-hole caps. I'm not going to be able to get the cap through the hole because there's too much solder in the hole to get the cap through. Yeah, that's probably what I'll have to do. Alright, I'll do that when I'm ready to solder the components through. I think I need to clean the pads, but I think tonight, because Steve was asking about these 3 chips, and I'm kind of... want to just see if I can't get a better look at their condition. Because they are 3 of the chips I was kind of worried about, but actually not as worried as one of the other chips. Yeah, I've got a couple of solder balls I'm going to have to take care of. Oh. Well, I may have to actually... Oh, I may have to apply heat. Well, maybe those aren't solder balls. They sure look like it though. But yeah, those are actually not the worst of it. The two sound... No, it wasn't the sound chip. It was these two here. The legs are kind of a little green. But the sound chips don't... Their legs don't look too hot either. But actually, that's not the worst one that I was worried about. This one, honestly, to me, looked like the worst one. This... Although I could be wrong. But it had this misfortune of being beside this one cap here that... Beside our cool slot C. Oh, you know, maybe this one's not as bad as I thought it was. Actually, some of what I saw on it looks like it just kind of came up. It doesn't look quite as green, although I guess I could pull the microscope out. I think that's what I'll do to kind of finish up, is take a look at these and see if I can't remember where I put the box that had the spare parts in it. What did I do with that? Oh, I see it. Oh. It would also help if I switched cameras. So if anyone looks at the thumbnail of this video and wonders why I chose to put the VLSI chip upside down, it's so that when I put this picture, the picture of the close-up of this chip in my template for creating thumbnails, well, it's not a real template, I just usually copy and paste from the last one. But it was so that this chip was visible more clearly through the gradient mask. There we go. Oh, that's why I'm having trouble. The microscope was amplifying the vibration of the fan that it's touching. So here's that chip. And, you know, maybe it's not quite as bad as I thought it was. Because here's the sound, one of the sound chips. Yeah, that kind of looks delightful. Let's see what it looks like after a quick scrub. All right. So I think that's the left sound chip. And the right sound chip. Okay, well maybe those aren't quite that bad. And these AMD chips kind of looks like some of the corrosion came off with the IPA. So I think we are down to these 3 here that I presume are the ones Bruce was also trying to warn me about. Because if I were going to guess chips that might be in the power-up circuit, these 3 would be chips that I might suspect were without looking at a schematic, assuming one exists for this board. So sure enough, I think that is a solder ball, but it's... I may have to... Oh, I'd probably have to apply heat to remove it. Oh, look at that. There's... another one of our enemies, the solder ball. Yeah, I might actually have some of these ICs, because some of these I ordered spares of just after I looked at the board. I'll have to go through my parts. Because I know this one chip that I thought looked the worst, the 74 ALS 240, I ordered spares of it. I think I ordered spares of these ones as well, just because of how hazy they looked. 74HC 132D, 74HC 74D. So I may actually have spares of these already. So I guess if those are bad, I should be good. But at least it looks like the sound chips are probably fine, because those are not as easy to come by. All right. But I think that is where I'm going to start to draw my stream to a close, because I've got the caps off, and we'll need to start kind of... I need to clean the pads. And I'm not going to fall for the same tricks I fell for the other 2 evenings. But it looks like the board is in decent shape, considering its age and capacitor leakage status. Most importantly, the battery, the terminals are... they're kind of rusty looking. I kind of wondered if something... actually might be able to... they're probably fine. They should still make contact. I did... the battery... there was a... actually, no, I think the battery had been removed from this at some point. So that's probably why it didn't have a... if I have a small metal brush... well, actually, I don't have a small metal brush. But I did break down and buy one of those fiberglass pens. I wonder if... I may have a metal brush somewhere too. Unfortunately, this looks like I won't be able to get down on the other side of that bend easily, but it does look like it's cleaning it up. Well, maybe I might be able to... do this. Actually, it looks like maybe a little... Yep. Actually, that looks tremendously better. I'll just put a little more deoxide on it to let it work its deoxidation magic. So anyways, I think this is a good spot to leave the board for another stream. So I've got the caps off. We'll need to clean them. I don't have any pressing needs for my workbench. So this can just probably safely stay here until later. But I did have a few quick updates on some other recent projects. So I thought I'd take a moment. So good night, Thomas. So I thought I'd take a moment to update on some other projects. So for the Macintosh IIci, I managed to buy the board from a power supply that had rusted, but that gives me a wiring harness that I can steal to repair the LC2 power supply that had the broken wire. It also gives me a board that I can I might be able to attempt to repair it. It's got some components that are in pretty bad shape, but it would let me get some practice. But it'll let me steal the wiring harness so I can at least fix a power supply that just needs recapped, as opposed to one that probably needs some trace repair. But, so, I've got that, so I should be able to work on the LC power supply, and I believe and I do have the parts, because those parts came in. So, and also, I've got the replacement safety caps for the 2CI power supply in that box. Now, I haven't ordered the rest of the caps for the 2CI power supply yet, because I thought I'd start with the safety caps. They were easy to figure out what I needed. I think I finally did find a recapping, a list of caps for the 2CI power supply, because the other problem was I was able to easily see the values on the safety caps, but some of the caps where they are in the 2CI power supply, I couldn't easily read them. So I was really hoping I'd find a cap list. I think I finally did find a site that had a cap list for the Aztec 2CI power supply. Because I think Bruce's site had the GE 2CI power supply on it. Yes, the Picade, I have not ordered that kit yet because I was doing a little research, and I might actually spend a little more money and buy some Japanese arcade switches, because I found some that are the correct size for the Picade. I forget what brand they are, because there's actually two Japanese companies that make arcade switches for arcades. And I know they'll cost a little more, but they're supposedly the best switches you can get. Because I guess Japanese do know their video arcade games. So I just wanted to... I found them, and then I realized I needed to measure something on one of the original Pomeroni buttons. So that's why I haven't ordered them yet. Also, I got to decide what colors I want, because I can't get them in the exact colors that Pomeroni sells. But I think I'm going to go with Japanese arcade switches. Just because they seem to... They'll be high quality. And I think they even have they supposedly have a nice tactile feel. And I do like buttons that have a nice tactile feel. These are garbage buttons. They have... Of course, this one I think is one of the worst ones. So, I should have those on order. You probably can see that... oh, it's right behind me. Oh, other way. Move the other way, Justin. So, the package's back there waiting for parts. So it hasn't gone very far. I will get buttons. I almost ordered them today, but I just wanted to double check the connector size on those buttons, just so I would know if I needed to order a different wire harness or something. So that's that. Also, I know one of my other recent acquisitions for the 2CI, back to the 2CI, I just realized I have a new bus network card. It's an Asante. So this will be nice because there's a missing slot cover on the 2CI, so at least I'll have a network card that can fill a slot. And, well, it'd be nice to have a network card. I did check it. It has no electrolyte capacitors on it. So therefore, I'm just going to leave it sealed in its bag. I think this is actually a new old stock. Was not in the box. So someone pulled the card out of the box, but that is the original factory seal. It has not been opened as far as I can tell. So that'll be cool. And then also one other thing I got, which I'll make use of some way. So I've got a Tektronix oscilloscope that's got a VGA out. I did buy another probe for it. So I found this on eBay. It was actually used, but this is a FET probe. So I'll have to try it out sometime. But this is an active probe for that scope, as opposed to the passive probes that I picked up the other day. I don't know how much I paid for this, but it was probably a really good deal. So, oh yeah, it is possible that board has been relabeled. That is a good point. But that's not the first time I've run across Asante cards that have been pulled out of the box, and I think Asante did use these pink poly bags like this. So there is possibly still a chance that this is the original seal. This label was manufactured in Madras, Oregon, USA by the DeLone Corporation. So if they're still in business, then yeah, this could be a replacement label. But if someone were to look it up and realize that the DeLone Corporation went out of business in like the mid-90s after this card was manufactured, it's very well could actually be still sealed in the original Asante box. Because a lot of those labels are not printed in the US anymore. So, yeah, that'll be neat. Having that active probe will be nice. Yeah, it's probably a 50-50 shot. But it has a 100% chance of filling the slot that doesn't have a cover if it works. Otherwise, I'll probably feel obligated to buy a new bus video card for this Mac. So I think that is pretty much it. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing that I may also do a live stream of at some point. So earlier in the stream, I was mentioning that I bought a Fluke 45 off eBay. because I've been wanting a multimeter that had a serial out that I could actually connect to the computer I stream from. Because I had a multimeter down here. It's the one I was pointing a camera at. It had a serial out, but I could never get it to actually reply to anything I sent it, even after following all the commands in the manual. So, Jay, I've streamed late the past couple of nights. I do need to get to bed soon. But I never got it to work. So I actually bought something else, another multimeter off eBay that has a serial port. And it... yeah, thanks, Steve, for the compliment on the shirt. You notice I went for the pixelated one because it kind of goes with the theme of my channel. So I'm glad you actually made whatever the fancy font is that you used, and then the pixelated one. So I think I prefer this style. So I actually have another multimeter that has a serial port on it, and I actually got it to talk, although it hex encodes everything. So. So I don't know if it's actually outputting sensical data, but I then ran across an auction for a Fluke 45. It actually has a mode where you can set to, it's actually designed so it can log data to a printer. So you just tell it to output the data. You can tell it the rate you want it to output, and it just outputs the data to the serial port at the specified rate. You don't have to issue it any commands, and that would be and it's plain text. So you don't need to unencode any hex or anything, because again, it's designed to print out the text of the serial point. Yeah. So yeah, Fluke designed it so you could connect a serial printer to it, and it would just log the numbers out to the serial printer, or you connect a serial modem to it, because I think the multimeter is that old, and it'll just log the data out to it, which will make it really easy to write a Python script that can read the data in from the multimeter and put it in a text file that I can then have OBS Studio show on screen, so that when I'm probing things with the multimeter, you can actually see what I'm seeing straight from the multimeter and not try to read the screen I've got pointed at the multimeter. Also, the Fluke 45 has another nice feature, and that is that it has a vacuum fluorescent display. So not only will I be able to use the serial port to let you see what I'm doing, but I could use the vacuum fluorescent display so that I can see what I'm doing very clearly too. Because the multimeter I had that I can't get the serial port to work, it just had an LCD screen with no backlight. So it was actually hard for me to read it too. And then the one I bought off eBay the other day, it actually has a backlight on the LCD screen, but it's still just one of those like calculator-like LCD screens. So, and it encodes the data, so I'd have to decode the data, so it'd be harder. But the Fluke, I can just really quickly do something. But I kind of thought about doing a stream and giving it a try. It might be a complete flop, but do a stream where I actually do some Python coding and write some Python that would interface with OBS to... It might just be interfacing with a text file, but it'd be a first step to having something that could be reused, that if you also stream and you have a multimeter and it has a serial port or some interface, that you could get it into OBS and people will be able to see what you're doing. So that then when Bruce drops into the stream and he's kind of curious what's going on because he sees you're probing with a multimeter, he'll be able to read the text just right there on the screen. So the short summary is, Bruce, I'm closing up for the night. I got all the caps off the board. I need to clean the pads and solder the new ones on, but it's past midnight here, and I don't have the Steve constitution of a 9-hour stream, especially because I've been bad to myself and gone to bed late the past 3 nights. And I'd really like to be a little bit more refreshed for Friday, so it feels like a good end of the work week. So, anyways, I was just kind of describing projects that are upcoming. So look for that. That might be an interesting stream where I'm going to do some Python coding. It could be a complete flop. Who knows? Maybe it might be my most popular stream ever. But it's something I've wanted to at least try to see how it goes. Oh, hi, Sad Mac. Welcome to the stream. But anyway, so now I've kind of given you an update on the projects that I have upcoming, at least the ones I'm willing to admit to. Maybe sometime really soon I will finish editing the video of the scripted video that I've been saying I'm working on. I guess that's the final update. I did receive yesterday a t-shirt that I bought specifically for when I do the talking head part of that video. Because I saw the t-shirt on Amazon. It was awesome. It definitely has a 90s vibe to it. And I realized that it will at least make the end of the video a little better. So... So yes, look out for that. I'm going to maybe try to spice up the talking head part of that video because those can be boring. So, oh, thanks for subscribing, Nick. But anyway, so that's kind of an outlook on projects. So anyways, with that, I am going to take SadMac 356 advice and going to go to sleep so I can have a nice, fully recharged, or at least a 99.75% recharged Friday. So I hope you all enjoyed this stream. I hope that you can probably see that I've been doing a little bit of Photoshop work to kind of add some branding to StreamYard. And with that, I'm going to make sure I have my mouse over the correct button to hit so that when I do the following, I'm not struggling to find the correct link. So on that note, I would like to thank everyone for joining. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.